political prisoners were locked up by the king. It is Bastille Day 2010, and we've got a lot on the agenda over the next 2 hours. The military parade in Paris with a special tribute to the 50th anniversary of the independence of France's sub-Saharan African colonies. Also tribute to the French troops that are currently deployed in Afghanistan. Let's straight away say hello to the people who will be with us throughout these 2 hours. Now, the first Bastille Day parade dates back to 1790, the first anniversary of the storming of that fortress. But please don't bother telling military historian Laurent Henninger. He knows all and teaches at Paris's École Militaire. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Also with us, Billy O'Cadamary, Africa editor at sister station Radio France International. Welcome back, Billy.
Thank you, Francois. Nice to be back again.
And with us as well, France24 International Affairs editor Armin Georgian. Good morning, Armin.
Good morning, Francois. Good to be back too.
Now, let's see how our team along the route is positioned. If we look, this is going to be along the Champs-Élysées, the wide avenue that goes from Paris's Arc de Triomphe. And there you see the Arc de Triomphe right now. The route is we're going to be going down the Champs-Élysées, the troops. And there we'll find in the middle of the crowd somewhere, France24's Cyril Vanier, and that's where all the shops are there. There's Cyril. And a little bit further down, towards the bottom of the Champs-Élysées, just a stone's throw away from the presidential palace, is the Place de la Concorde, formerly the Place de la Révolution, where they guillotined the king, by the way, and Marie Antoinette. Philip Crowther is at the bottom there. That's where the dignitaries and heads of state are going to be positioned. 12 African heads of state with us for this one, Billy.
12 African heads of state, and I think they are happy to be here. It's generally seen as a day of celebrations, really, you know, putting the politics aside. I think they are all hitching to be on that, on the world stage. The television is there's a focus on them, and also back home, some of these programs are being watched live in their own countries, so it's quite a day.
The Bastille Day parade, very much a reminder that the president is the commander-in-chief, something we don't talk about as much in this country often as we do, say, in the United States, where they're leading the prosecution of the war in Afghanistan.
Well, it's interesting, you know, for an outsider to watch this kind of overlap, or I should say, how the military and the political sphere are intertwined, and you really see that on July the 14th. You know, and you think of many democracies that don't celebrate their national day with a military parade at all. You kind of associate military parades with specific military victories, like, you know, the 9th of May and so on. And here you've got, well, as you say, the president as the head of the armed forces, the one who sets policy on Afghanistan. And this is something which I find pretty specific to France. I mean, it's not unique, of course, but
it's not unique.
It's not unique, but it still feels a bit different, even as a European, to watch this.
Exactly. You know, this is a major Western democracy, perhaps the only one which puts up this kind of show every year with military fly past and military equipment and top military gear on display. The only equivalent is the show on Moscow's Red Square. And there's one thing, though, which I find, and I've been here for many years, that people have no problem with it. They actually seem to enjoy it. The local population, for me today I have to be at France24, but for the last 8 years or so I would normally go at Place de la Nation and stand there to watch the fly past, which seems to fascinate people. People bring out families and kids and just wait to see the aircraft flying by in those beautiful formations. And the French seem to be happy with that. I think it's something after the war, of course, to show that, to posture and say, you know, we are a military power.
And of course, later on, we'll be seeing that flyover of the airplanes. In fact, twice during this show. Let's go now to the Champs-Élysées and drop in on France24's Philip Crowther. Philip, can you tell us where you are?
Well, I'm right next to the presidential stand would be the right translation for this, more or less. As you just saw, the First Lady, Carla Bruni Sarkozy, has already arrived. French President, as you can see in those pictures, still to arrive right here. Now, you just saw who was sitting next to the First Lady. Well, that's always quite revealing in these kind of situations. We had a quick look before at the seating order there. Next to the French President, to his right, will be Paul Biya, President of Cameroon. To his left, Blaise Compaoré, President of Burkina Faso. Now, why would they be sitting to his side? Well, simply because Paul Biya is the head of state who's been in power the longest. Second in line is Blaise Compaoré. That is the reason why they get to sit next to the French president. Now, speaking of seating order, as I said, there are some quite revealing details. For example, as we saw, the president of Ivory Coast, Laurent Gbagbo, was invited but decided not to come. In his place, the Minister of Defense, who gets to sit pretty much right at the end, as far away as possible from the French president. Might be some interpretations to be made there. Also, interestingly, the president, or the de facto leader, we should say, of Madagascar, Ange Razuel, was not invited. The Minister of Defense was. He is sitting in the second row. So some quite revealing little details as to who might be considered more important in this presidential stand. We're still awaiting the arrival of the French president, but all the other heads of state are in place, as are their first ladies.
All right, and we're going to see in that review stand in a moment all of those African heads of state there. Thanks for that, Philip Crowler, by the review stand, as we see the troops there.
One of the most interesting aspects of the march actually was the military regalia of the Malian armed force. I saw them in practice. You know, it's a mixture of the traditional Western military uniform and the Tuareg hat. I don't know why they thought of that, but that makes them look quite unique.
It is a unit that's a camel riding unit from Mali.
Camel riding, yes. I don't know how you integrate modern warfare with the use of camels. Perhaps it can work in a country which is part desert like Mali. But I tell you one thing, Francois. Whatever people say, each and every one of those soldiers is enjoying the moment, because for them it's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
All right, you mentioned it's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Tuesday, there was a reception for African veterans, and in fact, we caught up with one Niger Army captain who already knows the drill. Amadou Hassan Diallo not only marched in the Bastille Day parade, he did it way back in 1959, and personally had the honor of receiving from General de Gaulle himself the flag of the Communauté Française, the transitional body that existed in the run-up to independence.
Je n'étais pas nerveux parce qu'il y avait à côté du général, il y avait le président de la République.
I wasn't nervous because standing next to the general was the president of Niger, Mr. Diouri Hamani. Therefore, I was calm. I was also young, and I was proud to receive from the hands of General de Gaulle the flag of the community.
What will the young African soldiers be feeling when they march down Paris's Champs-Élysées in the Bastille Day parade?
They'll be feeling the same thing as us. It's not a baptism of fire, but the baptism of the crowds. The big crowds. And it will be very nice.
We're going to go to Cyril Vanier, who's our man in the crowd. Cyril, can you tell us where you are?
We're standing just next to the African troops, and the parade has just begun with the African troops. So the Malian troops you saw began to walk. Those are the Mauritanian troops you're looking at right now. The Chadian troops are soon to come. The African military troops are opening this military parade, and they're all ranked by alphabetical order to make sure there can't be any political interpretation of the order in which they will be marching today, and this is really the specificity of this particular military parade after 50 years of independence, that these African countries are marching down the Champs-Élysées today, and that has been one of the draws for the crowd that's come to watch the parade today.
All right, Cyril Vanier, check in with us a little later on. Thanks for that. We can now see the French president approaching the review stand, and as he does so, he pays tribute to the flag. Let's take a look.